All right. Welcome back to the Second Opinion Loan Officer podcast. I'm super excited today because if you've listened to some of my other episodes, I just got done spending a lot of time on talking about niches and about creating niche content and different types of niche content, and really about not being afraid about specializing. And Marshall Sparkman is my guest today. He's a fellow originator. He is a veteran himself. He has an amazing story, and this story for me epitomizes the best of what I think we do as a profession. We don't always we sometimes I think take for granted the expanse of our knowledge about what we do, and especially when it comes to veterans, because I don't know, I hate to say it, but in a way, because it's such an easy loan to do, there are a lot of telemarketing companies that have set up that prey on veterans, and they target veterans, and this leaves a lot of veterans behind. And Marshall recognized that, and actually he just released one of the reasons why this isn't the first time he and I have talked, but one of the reasons why I wanted to share what he's doing with everybody is because he partnered up with Ginger Bell, and who everybody knows Ginger Bell, or if you don't know Ginger Bell, find that episode. She's an amazing educator. And you guys wrote a video planning guide for veterans. So first of all, Marshall, thank you so much for being here, and welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, Scott, I'm excited to be here, man. Thanks for the opportunity to be able to hop on and educate, man. This is why we do what we do.
It is. So I'm going to put a link to this. Why don't you explain what this book is and why you wrote it?
Well, actually, so I, specializing in VA loans, man, let me back way up.
Let's start from the beginning.
Let's start from the beginning. So I was a young officer in the Air Force, and I was an aircraft maintenance officer. Aircraft maintenance officer, basically, you're responsible for all the personnel and all the aircraft, and all the logistics that go along with that. And as a young officer, the job is to groom you, start you with leading small groups of guys, turns into hundreds of guys, ultimately turns into leading thousands of soldiers when you're in command. And as a young officer, you're constantly groomed on how to lead. And when I got out, I had a aircraft maintenance unit. I was an officer in charge of an aircraft maintenance unit. I had 423 guys in my unit, 7 organizations. And the one thing that the biggest takeaway that I have about leadership is when you're leading, you're really not leading in the sense that you and I think of leadership. You're really serving. I think of serving at leadership like Jesus washed his disciples' feet. You're literally, taking off soldiers' boots and rubbing their feet and checking their calluses.
Servant leadership is a phrase that I really, really love, and I think it's such an important a skill set, and it's more of a mindset, I think, than a skill set, right? If you have that servant leadership mentality. So, wow. Okay. So you had a lot of responsibility. So you learned early. So you exited the military.
Yes. So I got out of the military. I kind of stumbled into the mortgage business. And
like we all do.
Yeah. It was the greatest stumble ever. People started referring me veterans. They're like, hey, this guy speaks your lingo. He just got out of the military. Go talk to him. And when I got out, I was used to be saluted and sir everywhere I went. And then I got out and I was dude. Bruh. My parents owned a small retail store on the square, little hometown square, and they had this college student that worked for them at the time. And I was like a week or two out, man, and I was helping my mom in the store, and this kid was like, dude, you're just an ass. And I was like, what did you just say to me? Yeah. So I sidetracked, but anyways, so stumbling into the mortgage business, people started referring me veterans, And I was fresh out, I was raw, and I'm getting these guys, and I start seeing credit issues, and I start seeing processors don't know how to process loans. Other loan officers didn't want to deal with VA loans; they were scared of them, and so I went home. I printed off the chapter 4. I've got it over here somewhere in a big 3-ring binder, and
Yeah.
I worked out with a highlighter and a pen, and I just read through guidelines, and I wanted to get to know everything there was to know about VA loans, so that I could be a good servant. If people called me with VA questions, I felt like I needed to know the answer.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing, man, nobody knows anything about VA loans. I got underwriters calling me and processors calling me asking, how, what about this and that and the guidelines, because the guidelines aren't black and white. They're very leaves a lot open for underwriters' interpretation, right? And
Yeah.
so I just started to educate. I was like, hey, the best way to serve is to educate and teach people about this. So I started going around. First, I started by going to our local military units here, and I was teaching these guys about their VA benefits, how to leverage the VA home loan and buy a house, how to taught them about financial literacy, just the basic stuff that your daddy should have taught you, right? That nobody teaches. So that kind of got me to that got my brain thinking about, hey man, I need to educate. That's where the need is, and that's where I can fulfill it. Fast forward 15 years from now, we come up with this book, and actually that content, all the content that's in the book that Ginger and I came out with, man, I wrote that content probably back in, I want to say 2012 ish. And it was just me thinking of all the topics that I needed to do videos on. And, I was doing videos before they were cool. And it was just me brainstorming topics. And then I meet the amazing Ginger Bell, who's like, have you seen my other planner? And I'm like, no, I don't. She's like, we need to do this on VA loans. And I'm like, well, I've already done the content. I showed her the content. She was like, it's already done. The book's done. All we've got to do is I've already got the format and everything. And I'm like, yeah, go for it. It's if it's going to help other people. And my mission now is I just want to continue to serve. That's all there is to it. I want to specifically serve the veteran community. I want to teach real estate agents. I want to teach veterans how they can the VA loan is the biggest blessing for serving in the military. I mean, it's there's no other way that you can build millions of dollars worth of real estate portfolio with zero money out of your own pocket. And it's too easy. It's simple to do. So that's me in a nutshell, my life mission.
Anybody's listening to this, you're a loan officer, you're creating this stuff and you're selling books to other loan officers, but you're not doing this to make money, right? Tell me kind of about what you did with that. So yes, you're selling it, you're putting it out there, which I love because it adds, I think, some authority to the resources that you're creating. But you're not doing this to make money, are you?
No, so we're supporting Folds of Honor, and it's an amazing organization. Check those guys out. They mean a lot, and they really pour into the veteran community in a major way. I think it's really cool. And this book, we did this one literally because we could do it fast, and I already had all the content. But it's a series of it's going to be a 3-part series that the next 2 parts are coming out, and it all makes sense when they're as a bundle together.
Got it. Okay. So you had mentioned that you went and started talking about the VA loan to was it active duty or military? Where did you find those and how did you do that? Because you do a lot of in-person training as well as video, right?
Yes. Yeah. In person is that's kind of my meat and potatoes. That's what I like to do.
Where did you find those audiences? I mean, is that like for people that want to educate, the people that are really good at the VA loan and want to get out there? Like, how do you do
You got to
that?
get a foot in the door. That's the tough part. We started out with a local guard unit here in Nashville.
Okay.
It was on a drill weekend, and they, I think a buddy of mine had an in with the commander, and the commander was complaining about his soldiers. In the guard and reserves, those guys make enough money and they have that solid job, so it's easy for them to get credit. Like you mentioned before, so many people prey on military creditors, especially. You drive outside the main gate of any military base, and there's car lots and strip clubs, right? But so every soldier has to drive the nice car. So it's easy for soldiers to get credit and make enough money to get themselves into trouble, but they don't make enough money to get themselves out of trouble. And so we were talking back and forth with this commander about, in the Guard and Reserve, a big problem is retention. Guys get out of the Guard because they don't make enough money. They got to take a full-time job. They got to take another side hustle so they can make enough money. And I said, well, hey, why don't we come in and talk to your soldiers about financial literacy? Here we're here in Nashville, and Dave Ramsey is a big deal. And so we kind of take a Dave Ramsey approach to 6 steps to financial freedom, and talk to, like I said before, tell guys the stuff that their daddy should have taught them. That's what got my foot in the door originally, and then from there, they started talking about it. I took the I don't have it handy, but I took the printout and actually started mailing it to other commanders of these military units here locally and saying, hey, I'd love to come in and teach this to your guys. No cost. There's no sales pitch. I'm just a fellow soldier here wanting to educate.
See, I really want people listening to this to hear what you just said. I hope they have ears to hear, because you didn't go in there trying to talk about the VA loan. You went in there trying to talk about financial literacy. And one of the most important pillars of financial literacy and generational wealth and security for your family is home ownership. So you have the opportunity to talk to it about that, but you truly came at this from a servant mentality. You just wanted to help these kids. I call them kids, and if you're out, they're still in. But the other thing that I really like about what you do, which just really just shows your heart, is you started with the guards, because the guards, that they have to, the criteria is a little bit, they have to be in a little bit longer. It's, people don't normally think about that. I don't think about going after the National Guard and talking to them and targeting them. So you put together a book of financial literacy, and you started mailing that out to the commanders. Were those Guard commanders?
I did. No, I mailed it to everyone that I could get, mailing name and mailing address on.
Okay.
I just started sending it out, and they started calling me.
And I imagine once you got in the door with one of them, you could sort of leverage that and do some name dropping. And
oh yeah, big time. The commanders, it's a small community, and they all know each other, and they all go to trainings together with each other. So yes.
Okay, so let's talk about kind of how that works. So was it a one-time class? Was it an ongoing class? How did you?
It's always been one time for me. I like to come in and like I said, it's they all know what you do, and when I first started focusing on military, I went on LinkedIn and I just started friend requesting, because people say where they work. If you worked at the, if you had Army or Air Force or Navy or Marines, what in your job description or in your title, I would send them a friend request. And then, all of my stuff is VA focused. So immediately when they saw me, they know what I do. So it was, I didn't really have to push myself.
And it's education based too. So you're not really pushing anything. You're just sharing your experience and your knowledge. So, okay. So you're doing the in-person stuff. You also took this information to help realtors understand. One of the bigger or one of the more highest traffic articles on my website is about working with real estate agents that are afraid to accept VA offers. I assume you recognize that real estate agents didn't always embrace the VA loan the way that you thought that they should have. Yeah. And you decided to do something about that too, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, at first when when several years ago, it was like you'd see people making outlandish comments like, I'll blast you on high and tell everybody what you're doing. If I catch a real estate agent doing that, and there's some people that took that road, but I thought, these realtors aren't doing that because they want to harm a veteran. or they want to be malicious anyway. They just don't know.
And what they're doing, they're not accepting VA offers because the zero down, no skin in the game, they think that there's less of a chance of it funding.
They hear horror stories about this and
The
that.
sellers used to have to pay for some of the veterans' costs, but
Yeah,
that hasn't been the case for a while.
Right, that's correct. Now, there's so many misconceptions, and most originators know that. You know, even if you specialize in VA loans or not, you know that. And so realtors, there was just so many misconceptions. I thought, man, this is really the mission field. That this is my battle right here. Is educating realtors and teaching them, and in return, not only am I helping veterans, they're sending me business. My largest source of business, believe it or not, Scott, is onesie twosie realtors sending me a VA deal. And it's because they won't send me all their stuff, but they'll send me their VA stuff because they know I'm a subject matter expert and I'm not going to screw it up. And I started thinking, I was like, that's cool. If you're not going to send me, you know, everything, at least you send me something. I thought that was pretty cool. And that was kind of my attitude going into it with these realtors. You know, that's 70% of my business is VA, and it's majority of that is just onesie twosie realtors that know that's what I do. And when I first decided I was going to go all in with VA loans, I worked for Rick Ruby, the man himself, for 4 years. I had a net branch of Summit Funding. And man, I felt like I got my doctorate in business. I mean, I learned so much from that guy. And when our branch fell apart and you know, I decided to leave there, I said, you know, when you work for him, you follow his program and his process, and you do it his way, and there's no other way to do it. And then when I left there, I said, you know what, I'm going to just focus in on VA loans. I'm going to go all in and see what happens. And I just decided I'm going to switch all my branding, my Facebook, my LinkedIn, and I'm going to switch everything. And I'm going to just start teach, and I'm going to go teach these classes to realtors. And when I did that, you know, this is working for Rick Ruby, the man. After I did that, my income doubled, and then it doubled again the year after that. So, you know, I'm here to tell you, you know, the saying is you get rich in your niche, but I don't know if it's getting rich. I think niche has a lot to do with it. I think it's more of just finding an avenue where humanity needs service, and then you provide that service.
So you're right. I think the niche is kind of a sexy catch word, but really what it means is that you're passionate about something. And when you're passionate about something, you pour yourself into it. And this is one of the things that I love about you. And I you know, when you start, you know, I know people are gonna Google you. They're gonna start looking at your content, and you know, part of what I love about you is you're so transparent. You're out there. You're not afraid to talk about what you're passionate about. You're not afraid to share your faith. You make that a part of your message. I love that so much, because when we talk about, you know, I call this the Second Opinion Loan Officer podcast, but really what I'm talking about is when you create content coming from a genuine place of wanting to serve and something that you're passionate about, you attract people to you that appreciate that. So I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that you mostly work with your ideal client on almost every transaction, I would imagine. Is that?
I don't know, man. I seem to attract the weird deals. I don't know
well, it's because you care, and other people don't necessarily want to hear those stories.
Yeah.
Right. So I guarantee you're not the first person that they talk to, but they probably had a complicated story and somebody just treated them like a number, and they ran into you and they were like, here's this big old beating heart that knows everything about VA loans. I'm going to dump my story on them. Did you find that?
You know, I think at the end of the day, when you dive into one niche, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not immediate. You know, realtors aren't going to just all of a sudden know that's what you do, and you probably got somebody else in your town that's doing that also. So I think when you lead with your story, I'm reading a good book right now, The Power of Storytelling. What is it?
Donald Miller.
It's Unleash the Power of Storytelling by Rob Biesenbach. I'll probably butcher his name, but anyways, he talks about how to communicate your story.
Yeah.
People do business with those that they agree with, not only that they like and trust. So I think for me, it's all about building. I just want to tell people what I do, and you're right. You attract people that have the same mindset as you, and that have the same beliefs and have the same feelings as you do. And it's funny the way that works. So if you constantly are projecting in your videos and in your messaging and your marketing the kind of person that you're looking for, that you want to do business with, the kind of person that you talk about your beliefs and the things that you believe in, you will attract people that believe the same that way you do. And guess what? They want to do business with you. And guess what else, Scott? They're looking for someone like you that believes the same way they do, that they can do business together.
And guess what? They hang out with people that also share their values.
That's absolutely right. It was I think when you're a young loan officer and you get into this, you want to spray and pray, and you want to call a bunch of realtors, and you want to reach out to a bunch of people. And I think it was a big light bulb for me, aha moment, where I realized people do business with people that they like. Why does somebody like you? I have no idea why they like you. I can't make people like me, but I can talk about what I believe in and the way I feel about things, and people resonate with it. And that's the kind of people that they're looking to do business with. Loan officers, think about it. Think about your title company, or think about your insurance agent that you commonly refer business to. Why do you refer that insurance guy? Usually it's because you like him. He's going to take care of your clients. He's got a heart to serve, and he's got good deal. You just know that when you refer him, you don't have to worry about your client. He's taken care of. Well, your real estate agents are thinking the same thing, man. And subliminally, if you guys believe in the same thing, you're on the same track, and you're equally yoked, they're going to trust you with their clients and their paycheck.
Yeah, man. I couldn't have said this any better at all. I guess the only this is, man, I really appreciate you coming in, sharing all of this stuff with us. I think this is so important, and you really are just such a prime example of taking that risk and putting in the work. I mean, you saw the value of it, and now you actually had some of your classes. You applied with the local realtor associations, and you got them approved for continued education credits, right?
Yeah, that's big. That's another big thing.
Yeah. So like, you went all in on this stuff, and I know you're working on some other really, really cool things. I'm probably going to check in with you on that. I know you're working on some materials to hand out to real estate agents. Your next book, I think, is going to try to be consumer direct, right?
Yeah. So it's next one is going to be 2-part. So it's teach the teacher. So I'm going to be teaching realtors and lenders how to help more veterans, how to teach veterans, how to hold a class, and how to what the things to talk about in that class. We've got a certificate that we're going to issue. So you're going to be it's called Veteran Certified Agent, veterancertifiedagent.com, and trying to get it certified through the VA. That's my prayer. If anybody listening has contacts at the VA, the last time I pitched it, it was far off their radar. But I would like to. I mean, this is a legit question, Scott. Why does the VA not have a certified curriculum to teach loan officers how to do VA loans, or how to be a certified veteran? Why do they not have any kind of certification? So I'm like, all right, well, we'll create this certification here. That's not a problem. So I'm working on, we've already got the content created. We're just going through the editing process right now. Teach the teacher. So that's one part of it. And the other part is the booklet that you can co-brand and hand to veterans. And it's just educational, how to utilize VA loan. That's one I shared with you last night.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, man, this really is for me, this is a heartwarming interview, because I love somebody that's willing to really just lead with their passion. And, you said something that's important a little while back. a lot of new loan officers, they get into this industry, and a lot of times this industry is treated as a sales industry. And we really don't sell anything, but we're taught to be salespeople, which is pound, 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 tell everybody what you do, sell, sell, sell. But in the reality, we're a service industry. And most of the time, the biggest hurdle to getting that sale is educating the person about what their options are. So we really are educators. And uh, with technology the way that it is today, you have the ability to share your passion and put it on a platform that literally hundreds of thousands or millions of people go on this platform every single day to type in their questions to try to find answers. And now you can be found. So yes, they're going to find the people that are spending hundreds of millions of dollars to trick people into filling out their forms, but they're not going to get the same experience as they work with you. And chances are they're going to go back online and they're going to look for you, and they're going to be able to find you, and they're going to get that second opinion. So Marshall, we're going to stay in touch. We are going to definitely stay in touch. I want to see your progress on this thing, and I really, really appreciate you sharing. Do you mind if people reach out to you to get more information? I mean, I'll put the link to the book, the Amazon book. The proceeds are all going to Fields. What was it? Folds of Honor.
Folds, yeah, Folds of
Folds
Honor.
of Honor, and what they do is they provide educational scholarships for Gold Star families,
That's
correct?
correct. Gold Star and disabled service members. Gold
And
Star is
disabled service members, and they're expanding to first responders as
first
well, right?
responders.
Which is great, which is serving those that have served us. So, brother, let me do my commercial here real quick. Um, if So what I focus on here is creating what Marshall has created over time, this consistent inbound stream of people that know, like, and trust you. And we do that by creating content. I wrote a little blueprint, a report, a white paper about it, how to break free from buying leads and to create your own ultimate referral machine with content. You can go to mlo.expert. The links are in the description below. And then finally, the Find My Way Home Expert Network is my business. That's what I do. We help you create that content. In the meantime, we introduce you to consumers. Again, we get 20,000 plus consumers that come to our website every single month. They're asking us to introduce them to somebody that cares. And that's what we're doing on the network while we are helping you create your video. We're publishing your videos, we're transcribing your videos, we're promoting your videos, and we're helping you build that. All of that stuff is in the links below. Marshall, man, you're such a shining light in this industry, and I love your servant attitude. I love everything that you stand for, and I love the fact that you're not afraid to be yourself and share that. And it just really warms my heart to see that you've reached that level of success, and quite frankly, that consistency, because you probably don't have to market another day in your life because of the inbound traffic from all of the efforts that all the greatness that you've put out there into the world. So thanks so much for joining me and sharing your story. I think it's really going to be helpful.
Thanks, man. You said that real quick. It's taken me 15 years, and I was thinking about it recently. I was like, I could go another day without marketing. I don't have to put out another video or anything, and I'll be just fine. My kids will be okay. And but it's taken 15 years to get there, man. That kind of stuff doesn't come overnight.
Now, and you didn't do it because you didn't do it because somebody told you you had to. You did it because your heart told you you needed to.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do.
And that's the right thing to do. Yeah.
I'll share one more thing that I learned in this book that I'm reading right now, Unleash the Power of Storytelling. He said we're in a world that avoids risk taking and rewards fitting in. And I started thinking to myself, are you fitting in, or are you stepping out taking risk? Because you cannot serve humanity by fitting in. It's not possible. But you can serve humanity by I think about everybody that's made that's built any kind of big company that's really truly served humanity. has taken big risks to do that. So at some point, you got to step out of your comfort zone of fitting in, and you've got to take a risk.
100%. Yeah, history remembers the risk takers, not the crowd. So that's brilliant, Marshall. We're going to leave it on that. That sounds like a mic drop moment to me. Again, thank you so much for being here, my friend. I appreciate it, and we're going to check in with you later and check your progress.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, brother. Bye.